All right. Welcome to another episode of Stories That Impact. This is episode number 34, and I have a very special guest today, Sandhya. Hi, Sandhya. How are you?
Hi Amit, how are you? I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Great. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much, Sandhya. All right, so I am. It's been a while for all my lovely viewers that I was out and now I'm in Darwin. It's in Australia, and it's around 8 p.m. here. I'm in quarantine and enjoying my quarantine life. So before I move to Sandhya, let me just give a quick introduction. Sandhya Jain is a divine feminine who's the warrior and the healer, both in a womanly package. Defined by no man, she has her own story blazing through the world, turning history into her story. And when somebody dares to tell her all the things that she cannot be and do, she just smiles and tell them, I'm war, I am both war and woman. You cannot stop me. Isn't that awesome? With that, today she's going to share a bit sensitive story on the COVID issue where she had gone through the COVID problem, and she'll share what exactly happened and how she came out of it. So, Sandhya, amazing introduction. And it's my pleasure and my honor to get you onto my show. Let us start off with, first a bit of your introduction. What exactly happened and, how you got the COVID and things like that. Over to you.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor and pleasure for me to be in your show. Thank you so much for that. So
Thank you.
let me just start with a little bit of a disclaimer about who I am from and from where I belong to. So I'm a dancer, a state level former gymnast athlete, and a certified Reiki healer, a medical science student, and I belong and based from Delhi. So I born in a very philanthropic family with a very philanthropic parents, and they always taught me the value of courage and gratitude since I was a little girl. And I have this very amazing, guiding philosophy that we all of us have in our lives that guides us in every tumultuous times in our lives. So I believe strongly that one should never let the circumstances influence them. Instead, they should always influence the energy around them. And this is the same philosophy which helped me to overcome the times of COVID when I was stuck with it. And it was so unexpected for me at that time. And of course, I was shocked, I was surprised, and it was very difficult time for me to go through because it was a near death experience for me. But the moment I decided that I'm not going to let my circumstances influence me anymore, is everything turns out. So this is how I played the game. So it
Wow.
started, yes. So it started from the end week of October, and I was in a very miserable conditions at that time. I was around, facing through a gastroenteritis pain. So let me first of all tell to my audiences who are watching this, what is exactly the gastroenteritis is. So gastroenteritis is a condition where the inner lining, the soft and delicate lining of intestines and our stomach gets inflamed and irritated. This has a very mild to severe symptoms, for example, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pains, fever, chills, indigestion, and many other conditions like headaches, head pains, and fatigueness. So I was in that condition where I was going through the spectrum of symptoms, going from a mild to moderate to high. And it was late in the night when I screamed out in pain and I was not able to move out of my bed. My father noticed that something is wrong with me, and I was not able to call up to them and say, I have something in paining in me. So they came to me and asked me what happened to you, and I was like I could feel the shivering in my body. I could feel that I'm not able to say anything because I was using the hand gestures at that time. It was so vulnerable at that time, and they took me to the hospital immediately. And by the time we reached over there, we I was given under the surveillance of the staff of nurses and doctors who came up to me immediately in our emergency wards, and immediately the treatments have been started. So all the laboratory procedures have been done immediately to check out if there is something which can be found immediately and could be taken action against. So they have found nothing, and I was being given some painkillers out there at that time. So I was sent back to home. By the time it turns out in the morning, I was a little relieved But again, my pain started, and I was again in a miserable condition by that time. This time, not only pain was arrived to me, but at the same time, I was started having a fever chills. So my body was shivering all the way long, and I could feel it right through my bones and my muscles that I'm not capable enough to pull myself out of my bed. It was so vulnerable at that time, as I said. So we immediately went to the hospital again, and this was my second visit this time. Again, we were taken under surveillance, and procedures have been done, medications have been given, but no clue was found. By the time it was night, we came back to home and I survived. I actually survived on that day because we were not able to find out what exactly is happening in my body. Everything was normal. My pulse rate, my everything is normal, you know. And then something happened. And what exactly is, it's around 2 p.m. in the night, and I was not able to breathe. My breath almost gone, and I was in such immense pain that is so intolerable. I couldn't tell that and put that into words. All of a sudden, my breathing has gone. I lose my conscious state, and I was numb. I was completely unconscious about my surroundings and what exactly happening in my body. My body was not responding to any stimulus anymore. You pinch me, you just touch me, and my hand falls down. It was no reaction, no response back to it. I remember I was screaming soundless. It was at that time, and it was emotional for me because my family, my parents, my sister, my brother was standing around me. Some of them were sitting at my feet side, and some of them were standing beside me, and they were looking at me as they are hoping for me to get better, and they were not able to understand what's going on and how should I help her, because of course a family couldn't see a person surviving in such immense pain and then they are not able to capable to do anything, even though they have money, even though they have a medical faculties. But as long as the diagnose have not been clearly made, nothing could be happened done. And in my lifeless eyes, I was looking at them and ensuring them, I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I just want to live. I was, murmuring at that time with my tongue only, and I was praying to God, you know what, God, I want to alive. I want to live. Don't let me die. I don't want to die anymore. I have a purpose in my life, and I want to live. Please give me a one life. Give me a one chance. I was actually praying and begging for one breath at that time. All
Wow.
of a sudden, I fainted out and my sister picked me up. What exactly happened is she hugged me and she came closer to me and she screamed out, Sandhya, Sandhya, are you wake up? Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? And I was not able to listen to her anymore. I was not able to respond to her anymore. I was fainting out, and right the moment as slowly I was fainting out, my sister shouted even more, Sandhya, Sandhya, by my name. And she picked my hand up in the high in the sky and she was like, Sandhya, can you hold it? And I dropped down. It was complete state of unconscious where it was so hopeless condition for my family. Somehow my parents, my family took me up in the vehicle and packed me and rushed back to the hospital immediately. By the time I reached there, it took almost 3 hours for me to just get back to my breath. Just get back my breath. For 3 hours consistently, I survived. I fight it just to breathe, just to breathe. I was given medications, of course, I was given laboratory procedures, of course, every test was done on me again. And this time, the artificial oxygen and the few pipes were inserted into my body just so that I can breathe out. It was painful, absolutely, but I was okay with it because I was crying, and my tears were flowing down to my cheeks. I was not able to speak anymore. I was not able to convey how much I'm in a pain in. But somehow a doctor come to me and said to me, you know what, Sandhya, you can do this. You will do this. You're gonna survive it. Don't worry. And this gave me a little bit of hope and sense of courage that I can do that and I will do this. Somehow
Wow.
gather up courage. Yeah. And somehow I just gathered up this courage and somehow I fought it out for the 3 hours straight. And I was hospitalized after that. By the time I was get into a conscious state in the morning, a doctor, my brother, I realized by the time I wake up, my sister and my brother were sitting right next after me. They were waiting for me, then I will get into the conscious state. I waked up, I opened up my eyes, and I saw a crew or the team of doctors were coming and rushing towards me. a senior doctor come to me, and they immediately called my sister and my brother, who was sitting right next to me. And I was still figuring out what's going on. Why are they not allowing my family to be with me? And they're supposed to be with me. And they just immediately tell my parents and my family to go out of the room without anyone telling them what's going on. And I was still figuring out what's going on. And the doctor came out to me, and I simply asked one question, Doctor, I just wanted to know what's happening with me. Just tell me what happened to me, why I'm here. And he told to me, what, darling, you just get COVID positive, but don't worry, you'll be fine. We will do our best. I was numbed. I didn't know how to respond back to it because I knew I wake up every single day and listen to a thousand of people are dying because of COVID. And I found COVID positive. It was so, what, Amit, when something which we call a terminal illness happens to one of our family members, it's a time where prayers do miracles, where the internal courage and positive mindset do wonders. That exactly happened in my case. I was actually numb for a few while, and I was, finding out what could I do in this situation. I was not able to respond anything, and then I immediately picked up a call, and I called my sister. She was at home, and I just called her and tell to her what is happening with me. You know what happens to me? And she was like, what? I said, I'm COVID positive, Komal. And she was like, you know what, darling? I knew this, but you are a survivor. You are a fighter. If you can come this far, trust me, you can go for it, and you can do that. She just throughout the way encouraged me and bring me back that Sandhya who is really a fighter and warrior, which I almost forgot at that time. And I just dropped down the call. I went into the bathroom. I was in the washroom, and I stand and I in the front of a mirror, and I talk to myself. You know what, Sandhya? You are not going to let this COVID take away your life. You're going to take your life back from the COVID. And I tell this straight away to myself, you're a fighter. You can do this. And it's the time to prove it. You can do this. I just, shuffle up my hair, dust myself off, all the negativity, a little bit of cry. And then I just walk aside and walk away from that. Days started passing away, and the COVID symptoms started to get even more vulnerable. I was wondering, my body started getting losing weight, my hair started falling down, my skin got acne. I wasn't not able to see myself in a mirror because I looked horrible. And slowly and steadily, my every joint of my body starts to fading. And that was a breaking moment for me because I couldn't withstand the pain. I could feel in my shoulders, in my knees, in my body. That every inch of my body was in pain. And
Sandhya, sorry, your voice has gone quite low. Can you just check the connection?
let me just check it once
Yeah,
more.
sure.
Is it fine now?
Much better. Much better. Yeah, continue.
Is it fine?
Yes, yes, better. Better.
All right. All right. Let me know if anything again happens. All right. So I was there that I just decided and shake up myself off, and the days started passing away, and every inch of my body was in pain. Every inch of my body
No,
was
it
in
is.
pain.
I'm so sorry. It just fainted down again. I think that just the connection part where it gets connected there, it's a little hazy. Not much.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Is
better,
it
better.
better?
Continue. Continue now.
All right. All right. So every inch of my body was in pain at that time, and I was given and the most difficult part. You know what, we talk a lot about this much of patients have been hospitalized, this much people have been given medication, this much people are according to statistics have found COVID positive, but no one talks about how difficult it is for a COVID patient to survive the treatment, because after COVID, surviving the treatment was another different kind of realm for me. I was inserted this within a 14 days, which is the time period exactly I stayed in the hospital. I stayed in the hospital and I was hospitalized for that. A cannula was inserted into my blood veins at that time. And Of course, my body was so weak and so sensitive at that time that almost 11 times the cannula was inserted brutally into my vein. It was brutal, and every time when they insert a cannula in my hands, in my blood veins, a blood shatters out like crazy. It couldn't be stopped. It was so difficult to stop every time. It was so difficult at that time. And I was almost given 10 to 12 injections every single day. Like, apart from oral pills, apart from drips that I was being given 4 times a day, there were 12 brutal injections and antidote that was given to me at that time. And I can tell that. I can tell that it was so brutal because every time an injection syringe goes and put it into my skin, a kind of burning sensations and my soul shivers out every time. It was so, so, so vulnerable that simply couldn't be put into the words. It was so vulnerable. Somehow I survived a few days. I was still struggling and I was literally screaming inside of me. I was in pain. But the even more vulnerable part comes out when the doctor reached out to me and he said to me, "Hey, do you know you're COVID positive?" And I said, "Yes, I am very positive." And he said to me, "Yes, I can see that. I'm wondering that there are many patients out there and none of them are smiling and laughing. And you're smiling? Why?" So I said, "This is my way." I smiled at the situation and the entire narrative changed. And he was laughing and he was told to me, "You know what? Your parents are there. Your family is there." And almost for a minute, I forgot that, I'm COVID positive and I'm not allowed to be go there. And I just jump out of my bed and, say, "Hey, yes, yes, I want to meet my parents." And immediately I realized this. I couldn't meet them. And I have to do this every single day for the next 14 days. I can't see their faces. And not even for a 14 days, not even for a single day, I did a video call to them. Not even for a single day. Because I knew if I see their faces once, I'll not be able to continue with that. I'll be getting emotional. I will be weak because they are my weakness. So I just simply somehow managed to survive without my family for the first time in a terminal illness. And I was completely packed into this closed room without any fresh air, sunlight, window. I was not even aware of what the weather conditions outside is and when the day and when the night is. I could simply look at the clock and say, okay, this is the time it's going to be. This was this way. Every single day I used to wake up to a 10 to 15 brutal injections. Apart from them, it was not nice to wake up and having a blood stains on your bed sheet. I am a medical science student, but when I actually encountered 14 days in my life where I see blood stains in my clothes, in my bed sheets every single day, it was very, very sensitive. It was not nice at all. So,
I can
what,
imagine.
even while I was going through these struggles, what I decided to come up with a solution. Now, coming back to the solution, what exactly I did to come out of this is one day I decided, I'm going to decorate my room. So here is a very interesting part that comes out because I just called up my family and I tell them, bring all of this, my stuff, my books, my plants, my decorative items, my curtains, my bed sheets, every single thing they bring out for me, my clothes. I change my clothes. I tell them, I want to wear my clothes. I don't want to be like a patient. I am not a patient. So stop calling me a patient first of all. And every single person in the staff knew that she is the only youngest woman in the hospital at this age who is so positive and she don't want to be called as a patient. So every time a person used to come to me, they don't used to ask me, "How are you, Sandhya?" I used to ask them, "How are you today? And how was your day today?" So this is how the conversation goes like. So start building, I start socializing with the people out there, with the nurses, with the doctors, and with other patients as well. Of course, I was not allowed to enter into their room. So what I used to do, I used to come out of my room and I used to take a walk and from the outskirts of their door, I used to stand and I used to ask them, "How are you?" And being a certified Reiki healer, I understand the concept of energy, that how energy is, everything is simply an energy. We itself is an energetic being, right? So energy have this, very beautiful thing about itself that it can be easily transformed from negative to positivity because energy can either be, can neither be destroyed and can neither be created. It can only be transformed. And I knew that positivity, the smile, the laughter, and a simple few loving words, "How are you today?" can change everything. So I used to go to their outskirts of doors and stand over there and tell them, "Hey, you know what? We are powerful beings. And I used to give them affirmations. I used to give them a set of affirmations. You know what? Let's just calm down. Your energy and everything can be changed by just simply having a positive mindset. So I personally believe it very strongly that no poison can harm you if you have a positive mindset. And no medicine can work on you if you have a negative mindset. So, with the three elements positive mindset, courage, and gratitude I overcome the entire part of the struggle. Not only I decorate my room beautifully and socialize with other people out there, but by the way, I was very popular at that time. so,
I can imagine.
yeah, and I and I used to do a lot of activities, by the way. So what I used to do is even while being on my bed, I used to write. I used to write columns. I used to write articles. I used to make poetry. I am a very aesthetic soul. So I used to. I passion. My passion is writing. So I used to write. I used to write a lot. I used to read a lot. I used to meditate. I used to deep breathing. I used to, there is a process which we call chakra balancing. I used to do it being the healer, which I knew I have practiced since a long time. So there's a healing practice which I have done, and of course a set of affirmations which I used to say every single day in my morning and in the night before going to bed. So by simply combining all of these factors with deep breathing, meditation, breathing, writing, creative expressions, poetry, affirmations, I somehow managed to get out of the situations with this. And one major part of that is not only I was courageous enough to stand up every single day and say myself, I am gonna make it. I am powerful, but also I used to keep a gratitude journal. So even I was in a hospital, I was in an immense pain. Every single day I used to write at least 10 things which really I am genuinely grateful about. So I knew people were dying here, and I at least have been given a good medical facilities. I have been taken care really well. My family is supportive to me, and I should be grateful about it because still a privilege for many people out there. So
True.
from starting simply from five things which I start writing in the morning daily, I always, every single, when you're, there's again a very beautiful thing about gratitude is when you are being grateful, you actually vibrate at a higher level. And you, when you are grateful, attract more reasons to be grateful about. I one day write five things, another day I write 10 things, and another day I write 15 things I'm genuinely grateful about. Because something, somewhere, somehow came to my way to be a blessing for me. And I simply found it. That's what the
Wow.
beauty of the gratefulness. And when you are grateful, trust me, there is a saying which I personally wanted to give this message to everyone out there as well, to all the audiences who are watching this live and will be watching us in our real videos, that a grateful soul can even find a comfort in adversity, but a complaining soul can even find the adversity in comfort. So it is,
Wow.
I repeat it again, a grateful soul can even find a comfort in adversity, and a complaining soul can even find an adversity in comfort. Now, I guess this is
Fantastic.
absolutely powerful enough to understand the value of the gratefulness and how it helps you to, because I have something to look up to every single day because I knew somehow a God is going to bless me. Every single day I reminded myself, you know what? Life is unpredictable. It is too short to carry this heavy sadness on yourself. And let it go. Let it go. Let it just forgive everyone. Even meanwhile, I understand the importance of life, which is unpredictable. See, I never thought I would get COVID positive. I never thought it could be life threatening for me, ever. But when I was in 14 days, all I knew is the present condition. I was not worrying about future. I was not worrying about my past anymore. I was in present and I was realizing that how important it is to cherish every single moment. You live with your loved ones. You live every single moment. How important it is to enjoy it and to be fully present in it. Because we always either worrying about or anxious about our future, or we are being overthinking and anxious about what's happened to in our past. We have never been in a fully present in our current circumstances. We never even, express that how much we love and how much we care about those people whom we really love. And we simply let them pass away. This is not how it should be. And I understand this importance while I was in a COVID positive time.
Wow.
So this was a really
Wow.
great for me.
Absolutely.
Right, right. So this is how it goes like, and every single day I found something even more more beautiful things to be get ahead. So one day, I was just probably it was my seventh day, yes, of my COVID, which at the same time the symptom has to be gone very high. They're supposed to be like this because it's the peak point of COVID period. And I was struggling all night because I was in high fever. I even, slipped out from in the washroom and I just got hurted badly in my rib cages. And I was, immense pain at that time. A nurse was there with me whole day and night, and I just found out that one man has been recently hospitalized in the same floor which I was in just one room next after me. And I could hear the screaming sounds that he is in pain and screaming all night because he was maybe around like maybe 50 or 60. He's not a very young man. He was a middle-aged man and he was screaming in a pain. He was coughing and he was just saying that call my family, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. And I was feeling like, what could I do for him? I was not able to get out of my bed at that time. By the time I was stable, I just walked out of my room and I went to him and I greet him. Hey, hello, how are you? And he was like, hey, how are you? You're so young and what are you doing here? I said, I am having a trip over here for 14 days. I'm enjoying it. How are you? And I just found out you were screaming last night and I just got really, get worried about you. So I just thought, how are you now? And I just realized the people's over there like he tell to me, I'm worried because my daughter has just get married and I am supposed to be there with her because it's a festive season, and being a father I am the only one and she's the only daughter for us, and I have to do like he was worrying about his future planning, right? He was very constantly worrying about and scared about that. So this made me realize that life is very precious. Life is very precious. If a person right next after me screaming all night because he was scared about his daughter or he was worried about his future plans, I guess it is too short to worry. It's very short. So this
True,
is how
true.
I keep myself very highly energized all day long, and I
Wow.
kept
Wow.
myself very positively. I even recovered more quicker than anyone else in the room. I simply remind myself every single day one thing very carefully that Sandhya, something is good is happening for you. Something good is about to happen for you. God has a bigger and better plans for you. Trust it. Have faith in it. Be grateful about it. And just not worried about what can go wrong and just be excited about what can go right. And I was every single day reminding this too shall will pass, this too shall will pass, everything is temporary. When life is temporary, then how can anything in life can be can be permanent? It will be so gone.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Bigger the struggles here, bigger the success will be in future. So do not worry about it. And you know what? Sometimes people have this very misconception about a thing which we call a God's planning. They think when a God is doing something, then we are not supposed to be sad. We are not supposed to go through pain because God is there. So if it's a God's planning, then why I'm going through a pain? Why I'm going through a sadness? Why I'm going through this negative and tumultuous times in my life? But what they not understand, sometimes God's plannings comes in a package with a pain, and it is important because without the process of struggle, your wings cannot be strengthened to fly higher, and that is important. Sometimes God has to do something within you. It has to do something change within you before he does something through you. So I never thought back at then that I will be interviewed this way and I will be honored to be on your show. And I'll be sharing my valuable keys, what I learned and what I appreciated all the way long. And see, I'm here. So if God is something doing from me, initially he changed something within me.
True.
And that's why I'm going to inspire people further. And I'm very sure about if it could change a one life, if it could inspire even one person out there who's listening to me, it's worth it. My struggles have been worth it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with this, let me first say thanks to all the viewers. There are many comments. Let me just share them. They started right from the beginning. So Aniket Kumar says, "Hey guys."
I'm
Achilles.
good. Hi, Akhilesh. Hi, Akhilesh. Yeah,
Achilles
my
says hi. Deep
hi, Deep.
Aluwale says hi. Yeah, she's actually with me in quarantine.
Oh, okay. Hi,
Komal
Komal.
says that's your sister, right?
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah, because I heard her name.
Thank you
Sandhya
for sharing
rocks. Yeah,
so much.
absolutely. Survivor. Yes, Deep.
Thank you. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter and a powerful fighter. That's why I said I'm a healer and warrior both.
Akhilesh, not much. I think this was during uh, the part where I said to check your headphones. So we'll just ignore that for now. And LinkedIn user, yeah. So like I told earlier, and I'm telling this to the audience as well. StreamYard has a choice of how they present the comments. So thank you, LinkedIn user.
I'm I would just like to tell you some a few things that I want to share with like two things that I want to share with my audience.
Sure, go ahead.
Am I audible? If my voice is good.
Yes.
All right. So one thing that I already shared a message from my side: a grateful soul can even find a comfort in adversity, and a complaining soul can even find adversity and comfort. The second message I want to give is this is a message which my friend Aniket, who is there, has shared to me when I was at that time hospitalized for 14 days. And this is certainly something which really changed my perspective at that time. And I am so grateful to him because he shared to me, and I am now capable enough to share with all of you. So this is said like it is said by Napoleon Hill, and it goes like every adversity, every failure, every heartbreak carries with it the seeds of an equal and greater opportunity. Have faith and don't give up.
Wow. Awesome. That is awesome. Fantastic. And there are
Yeah,
few more comments. Uh, Akhilesh, no, that's Komal says,
thank
well
you.
done, Miss Sandhya. Now
Very
again, these
formal. Thank you so much.
yeah, and the LinkedIn user sends a lot of love. Definitely. Definitely.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank
All right, so we're almost at the tail end of the session, and Sandhya, I mean, at many points, specifically the place where you mentioned about, how you cannot move your hands and fingers and your body, specifically that particular scene, I can still imagine where Komal is holding up your hand and your hand goes down. It would be shit scary for anybody to, not just in your point of view, of course, but to your sister as well, to see that happening. It's very, very scary. And we're all glad that you're here, healthy, and on my show, sharing that and all the things that have happened, over the 14 days and before that as well. So COVID is definitely quite tricky because we just don't know how it impacts whom in what ways and at how much, the intention. So you've been through, it's more for you, and hats off to your positivity, optimism that you had all the while, specifically not just for you, for spreading it to the rest of the folks, even to the, we always forget that the healthcare staff also needs a lot of optimism and positivity. And when they see one of the, again, I'll not term you as patient, but one of their care members as happy and smiling, I'm sure they get a lot of optimism in themselves, and make sure that they survive their days. So not only you gave it to the patients, the other patients, because you're not one, but you also made sure that I'm sure you made nurses and doctors days better as well. Fantastic. Now, with that, I want to ask you one question that I ask all my guests. Uh, is that, Sandhya, do you believe that stories impact? When we share stories to people, do you think that their impact? If yes, why so?
Yes, I absolutely believe that story does impact and influence. And the reason why I believe is here as a proof that why I am here in your show, and everyone can see me and I can share. So you see, I had this story, and this is the reason why I had this story. I am able to inspire other people out there. They are able to draw a sense of hope, a positivity, and faith, and assure that there is always a blessing in disguise we never knew. So this is the reason why I strongly believe a story helps to people understand that there is still some hope and we should never give up.
Fantastic, fantastic, wonderful. And of course, for all my viewers who are watching live now, thank you very much. And the ones who are going to watch later, you can connect with Sandhya. Both her IDs, the Facebook ID and the Instagram ID, are part of these sessions. So you can watch it on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. We're all live together. And you want to connect with her because there are many, like, the whole idea is that, if you feel that someone is in COVID, someone needs that assistance, someone needs that assistance on how exactly Sandhya turned the tables around, not just for her, for many people. Please do connect with her. Of course, she's a self healer. You can of course get in touch with her to get more of it. And Sandhya, may I just ask you one more time to say that wonderful statement about wisdom? And I'm sorry, I forgot that there were two
Yes,
things that you said.
yes, I would like to share it again for sure.
Yes.
The one message, the first message is every adversity, every failure, and every heartbreak carries with it the seed of an equal and greater opportunity. The second message is a grateful soul can even find a comfort in adversity, like complaining soul can even find adversity in comfort.
Yeah, that's the one. The second one is just amazing for me. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to put it as a quote as well. Of course, quoting Sandhya below that. So, with that, I would really love to thank all the viewers who are watching, and thank you everyone for all your comments and taking time to watch this amazing, another amazing, impactful show. And if you want to connect with me and share your story, you know where to look out for me. And if you want to connect with Sandhya and connect with her and learn more about how she is, improving her life day by day better, how she uses the affirmations and how she does all the things, please do connect with her as well. Sandhya, any last words from your side
Yes,
for the show?
right, right. And this is for you.
Sorry.
This is for you, Amit. This is for
Oh,
you.
okay. So sweet. Thank you.
Uh, Actually, I'm very happy, and I really appreciate your mission of inspiring other people's lives with sharing even one story that impacts even one's life. You know, I was, my mother has been a very integral and a very crucial part of my life because she is my role model. I look up to her. She is my inspiration. And I always say this, whoever I am today, I owed it to my mother. Every single thing that I learned in my life, the wisdom I have applied, the gain, everything that comes out from my mother. So my mother had told me once in my childhood that what, Sonia, you're gonna make a story one day of your life, and that's going to inspire millions. I for sure guarantee that one day that will come very soon. But the when you just reach out to me for the storytelling interview, and I agreed for that because it remembers me the words of my mother that one day when she said to me, "Your health, which is maybe not good now, but gonna inspire someday, somewhere. You never know." So
Wow.
thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I really appreciate you for continue to be thrive and shine on your mission and your journey. God bless you, and God bless everyone who is watching me and giving this time to come here.
Fantastic, fantastic. I think it's your mother's blessing on you as well as it is imparted on me by you coming on to my show. I always love my guests a lot because not only you need to be a little vulnerable, you're going to share your story with a lot of people. You really do not know how many people watch it. And but the most important thing, like your mother said, and like I say it now as well, the idea for this show was very simple. If you can impact one person watching this story, of course I am one person who gets impacted with everyone's story, but other than me, if anybody gets impacted, and if we can change one life even for a day, we got that thing. So thank you very much to your mom for getting you your lovely upbringing so that you can come here and share the story. And thank you very much, Sandhya, once again. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the evening.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you. Have a
All
good day
right.
ahead.
Yeah, and thank you everyone. And you'll see me next time. Hopefully, I can do a next show next week, or maybe next to next week once I'm in Melbourne. All right. See you guys. Signing off. Bye bye.
All right. Bye. Take care, everyone. God bless.